Hi, I'm Edis-Smith. I'm a textiles designer who specialises in digital embroidery. I produce an award-winning costume dress and also I'm the founder of a podcast called the Textile Edit UK. Yes, so after leaving school I did a fine art photography course and that led me on to doing a foundation course in art and design, which really allowed me to explore so many different techniques and processes, and I would absolutely recommend the course to anyone, especially if you're somebody who doesn't quite know what role you might want to go into in the art world, because that was definitely me. But through the textiles and embroidery, that was where I really found my passion. I then found an ideal course for me, which was a textiles and surface design degree at the University of Bolton. And that allowed me to really hone in on so many exciting techniques such as surface pattern print, applied textiles and also digital design. So that will be my final major project, which was my Siberian dress, which has 4 main influences. The first being the red dress by Kirsty MacLeod, which is an internationally recognised dress that travels the world when women get to essentially make their mark on the dress. And to me, I found that fascinating. My next influence came from my experience volunteering at Global Grooves, which is a carnival arts-based organisation in Manchester, where I got to assist with batiking and assembling the amazing giant marionettes, and seeing the magic of these marionettes through live performance at these events was highly thrilling, and seeing the way they incorporated a load of different elements, including music, dance, lighting, design, colour, was really exciting. Another influence came from seeing the power and the movement that comes from the whirling dervishes idea, and that leads me to the 4th influence. That was when I did a DNA test, which revealed to me my hidden heritage of Siberia, which really became a big part of my Siberian dress, where I took the motifs and artifacts from Siberian museums, galleries and nature, where I made my initial artwork, and that took me all the way through to the final designs. Well, I knew from the very start of the project that I wanted to produce something collaborative, transformative and dramatic. Something where it would push boundaries, take risks and really produce something that was truly dynamic. And here it is. So each pattern piece shows a different process and technique, but with the same colours and motifs flowing all around the dress. So it has mainly digital embroidery, but it also has digital embroidered cutwork, digital print and screen print. So it has a nice balance of applied work with the digital art as well. So I closely worked with my textiles technician Charlotte, where we designed a costume dress specifically for movement. And I really wanted the dress to have 3 layers of circle skirts, where it would really emphasise the textiles and digital embroidery in motion. And that was where the dress really shone in slow motion. So I entered the dress into the internationally renowned hand and lock competition in London, and amazingly I won runner-up for the Wilcom Award for digital embroidery, where I won 6 months free use of the Wilcom software. On this project I had an eclectic mix of expressive mark makings and drawings using cave art materials, and also making simple designs that could easily translate to the machine. So my course didn't really embrace digital embroidery that much. I was really the only student to really pursue it. And we used a different software to Wilcom, but it was a useful introduction to the more industry standard of the Wilcom software. Well, yes, what really worked for me was when I secured a one-to-one masterclass course with Happy Japan in Manchester, where I had intimate one-to-one tuition on the Wilcom software. And my trainer, shout out to Paul McNamee at Happy Japan, was really helpful in teaching me the many career paths and the commercial opportunities that the software and digital embroidery offers. So I was first introduced to Wilcom when I became the runner-up for the Wilcom Award for digital embroidery for the hand and lock competition in 2024. The first being the endless amounts of videos that you can find on YouTube that can really help you on the technical side of the software. And then another thing on more the creative side is a digital embroidery book by leading digital embroiderer David Morrish on Painting with Threads, which is a masterclass book on how to be creative with the digital embroidery software. So my advice for anybody who's wanting to connect with like-minded digital embroiderers out there would be to enter competitions such as the Hand and Lock and the National Embroidery Competition at the NEC, and also what's really important is to go and visit shows like the Knit and Stitch and the Great Northern Contemporary Craft Fair, because there's a lot out there to go and see and a lot of people and new graduates to meet as well, because usually at these shows there's graduate galleries and graduate displays where you can go and say hello to people and really find your community. In my experience, going to these events where I've been lucky enough to meet the leading digital embroiderers such as David Morrish, aka King Fly Embroidery, and Twan Lentjes, who has worked on big blockbuster films such as Wicked and Queen Charlotte, and also Paul McNamee. One thing that ties them all together is that they all use the Wilcom software. That being involved and staying active in your local community and online, because that can really help you in being in the know of what people are up to and what shows may be coming up in your local area. So it's the sort of podcast that I would have loved to have had when I was younger, even when I was a school leaver, because during school there was nothing really out there that existed that could really show me and highlight to me the many career paths and opportunities that are out there for young designers. And so that's the target audience, from school leavers to graduates and beyond. So I've got 2 big projects coming up, which is totally exciting, including where I'm developing my Siberian project into a much bigger project, where it's going to be hopefully exhibited next year in the British Textile Biennial in the northwest of England. So for my second amazing project is with my local musical theatre, and their next show, Jack and the Beanstalk, coming in December. They've offered me the opportunity to actually be in the designing process and use my digital embroidery skills to embroider and embellish the costumes for the show, which is an absolute unbelievable opportunity, and I can't wait to get right stuck in. Well, firstly, I would say obviously to subscribe to my podcast at the Textile Edit UK, because that's the sort of podcast that is specifically aimed for those of you who are emerging into the textiles and embroidery world. And then I would say to really emphasise on going to events and getting out there to connect with like-minded individuals and find the right routes into industry and courses that are right for you.